All right, welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Nick here, and happy Diwali, everyone. Happy Diwali because there is hope. The Festival of Lights, the excitement. Get out the food, get out the sweets, because it's time to celebrate an India win in this year's World Cup. Finally, they are off the schneid. All right, finally, they have themselves a win. The only teams so far that can't say that are Bangladesh and Scotland, and one of those teams, Scotland, India will be playing in one of the next two matches. Also against Namibia, who's also at the bottom. So India did what they had to do today. They had to do this. They won against Afghanistan, who's a side that's looked really scary this World Cup. They did not have their best match today, and luckily it was against India. I'm supporting it. And yes, I'm doing an R3 wickets, a solo one about my squad, all right? I know, but I can't help because this is the first India win the World Cup. I was salty. I was a little upset about what happened. I was a little frustrated, but I was so happy to see India back in a really, really good form today. They obviously made some adjustments. They obviously were attacking. Just about everyone in the press conference talked about needing to increase that net run rate. And I was hoping that they were going to be able to do a little better. When they took early wickets from Afghanistan on their bowling innings, I thought that, okay, you bowl them out by like the 13th or 14th over like we've seen many other teams in this World Cup do. And that's really going to help your net run rate. It's going to bring down Afghanistan's even more because they had that insane one after their first match or second match when they just went gangbusters, had a net run rate of 7+. But they were to bring it down. Afghanistan's net run rate is 1.4. India's now is 0.073. So they have a positive net run rate. Not much of one, but it is a positive one. Afghanistan still has a very healthy net run rate. They actually had the best net run rate in Group 2 and the second best in the entire tournament. So it was really big and huge if they could have got more wickets, could have bowled them out earlier. But that's okay. Maybe I don't fully understand net run rate. They still did a great job. They got over 200, and they were able to keep Afghanistan at 144. So that was really impressive. Kohli mentioned in his post-match comments about previous matches, they just fell under pressure, in his opinion. Gabe and I were talking about, I thought they were tired from the IPL, which I do think that's a part of it. But I kind of agree with them as well that sometimes you just are on the wrong side of the stick. You fall under pressure. They did not look good the first two matches. They looked 100 million times better today. They had swag, they had confidence, they had openers who did their job and then some. And not only when the openers went down, you thought like, oh no, here we go, we're going into the death, we're losing our openers, what are we going to do? Kohli was a savage, right? He didn't send himself out there, which I thought for sure he was going to do. He said, no, let's get our boppers out there. Let's send out Pant. Let's send out Hardik Pandya. And man, did that work out. India only lost those two wickets, the opening scores, the opening batsman. They got 210 altogether. KL Rahul got 69 on 48, strike rate 143. Rohit 74 on 47, strike rate 157. Did they do their job? Yes, they did. They were fantastic. They were phenomenal. A completely different opening partnership than we've seen in the past. That was so nice to see. My hat, my India hat, is off to those openers. But then when things looked glum, right? They went down from 143. You combine their score. It was before that when they went down, but still, when things looked glum, and I thought to myself, well, you got to get to at least 160. You've been on pace for 170, 180. You got to get to those numbers. You've got to increase that net run rate. You've got to not just beat Afghanistan, but beat them really well with the same with the next two opponents. Send in Pant. Didn't send himself in. Send in Hardik Pandya. Gabe and I were talking about Hardik. We've been talking about Pant this whole time. Gabe's been talking about how he does not know why he's out there. Ooh, Pandya showed why he's out there. And everyone in the comment section, let us have it because we were both talking some trash. Hardik Pandya, 35 runs, 13 balls. Just a little over 2 overs of his ball share. He got 35 runs, 4 fours, 2 sixes. It was beautiful. Pant, 27 runs on 13 balls as well. They both had strike rates over 200. Hardik Pandya 269. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that they came in, and the first over after Pant came in, he was things were kind of slow. But when they came in, it could have gotten really bad. They could have lost wickets. They could have but they solidified and they scored. Man, did they score. They scored big time, and they were able to keep these very, very impressive bowlers from Afghanistan in this tournament, keep them at bay for the most part. The captain only put himself in there for 1 over 7 runs. But Ashraf gave up 12.5 each. Naveen, who was a savage. He was a savage in the last match. He was on my squad that day. Hootie! 59 runs! He's like, ha! 59 runs and 1 no ball. An economy rate of almost 15. Wow. 59. Hamid, 34. Gulbadan, 39. Rashid Khan, the unflappable man, who I made as my captain. 36 runs, no wickets. This was a different bowling side. Look at Janet, who really struggled in the previous match. Only 1 over, but he got himself a wicket. The bowlers for Afghanistan, that was the biggest difference here. We'll get to their batting in a second, but their bowlers were not able to get anything going for the most part. They weren't able to stifle the batting for the most part, and that was a huge reason why the opening partnership was able to get established, stayed secured, and I was like, don't go out now in the beginning of death, but it worked out. They were fantastic. Talking about India's bowling. Shami, that is how you shut the haters up. You go out there and you play, baby. 32 runs, 3 wickets, 3 big wickets. 3 wickets. He went out there and he put all the doubt. He said, listen, I know how to play cricket, ladies and gentlemen. And he showed it. Boom, boom, boomrah. 25 runs, economy rate of 6. He got himself a wicket. Hardik Pandya, he bowled. He wasn't exceptional, but he bowled. That should be good signs for him and his health, because I think it was the last game. You know, he was nursing that shoulder or whatever it was. Maybe it was back. I think it was his shoulder. Jadeja. He didn't have like the best first over, but then he really calmed things down. 1 wicket, 6 economy rate. But the man, he wasn't the man of the match. The man of the match was the hitman, because we were really seeing the hitman. Do-do-do-do. He was busting those boundaries. But Ashwin, where has Ashwin been? Why hasn't he gotten a chance? Because this is what he can do. And it was interesting because Kohli mentioned it's great to have Ashwin back in the side, because this is what this guy can do for us. Maybe he wasn't healthy. We didn't know. Put him in earlier, for crying out loud. He was fantastic. He had Rashid Khan numbers. 4 overs, 14 runs, 2 wickets. Economy rated 3.5. This guy was fantastic. And Lord Thakur, as always, was expensive. But Ashwin, I was so happy to see Ravi Ashwin have the kind of day that he had today, because that's what India needed on the bowling side. They were not able to get early wickets. They were not able to get wickets in the previous matches. They got early wickets. They got a wicket in the 3rd. They got a wicket again in the 4th. They got a wicket in the 7th. Those early wickets before in the power play and before the first 8 overs are huge, and they got 3 of them. And they were able to stifle the batting before it really got too much cohesion there. Because you had your openers combined for 13. Then Gurbaz came in and got 19. Naib got 18. Sadrin got 11. And then Nabi and Janet. Janet, where'd this guy come from with the batting? I didn't know he could bat like that. Got a couple of 6s too. They came in and they really scored some runs. They really scored someone. Rashid Khan, Golden Duck. They came in and they scored some runs, and they helped make it. They helped their net run rate. They really, really did. If I understand it as much as I think I do, they helped their net run rate by getting that kind of scoring. So you had some positives there. Nabi was the captain. He showed them what a captain does, even though the strike rate wasn't that great. He still was able to solidify. But with that being said about the match, that was the match. India wins. They got 210, 2 wickets. They win by 66 runs. The important thing is, what does that mean for the World Cup? What that means for India in the World Cup is they still have a chance. They lose this match, it's done. They're completely done. Now they have a chance, especially since they're looking up at Afghanistan. Afghanistan's got one more match. India's got 2. India's got the 2 teams at the bottom, below them. You would think easier matches. They have to beat the bricks off those teams. They have to get that net run rate as high as possible, because I do think that's going to be a factor. Because I want Afghanistan to beat New Zealand, so New Zealand's at 2 losses, but that would put Afghanistan at 3 wins. And if they win impressively, increase their net run rate, that's going to make things tough. But India's got 2 more matches. You would assume they're going to get those wins. Sorry, Scotland, Namibia. They've got to have very decisive wins. They've got, in my opinion, they've got to bat both times. I mean, if they're going to bowl first and get those, then bowl them out. But you got to score those runs. You got to get those wickets, and you got to beat those teams. But they have a chance right now. If New Zealand beats Afghanistan, and then New Zealand has they have another game after that. They can get 4 wins. India has no chance. They're going to go in there with Pakistan. New Zealand is. So I think you need Afghanistan, because they're not getting a chance of 4 wins. I think you need Afghanistan to beat New Zealand. That's my opinion. But what this means is India, if they had like a 10% chance before, they probably now have a 20% chance. It increased a little bit, not as much as we wanted to, but this was huge. They're in better form. It brings confidence. They had the swag. They had the whole, clout and all that kind of stuff to say this is what India can do. This is what we can do moving forward. And tell me, India fans, you're not excited to see this. I mean, finally, the despair, the depression of 2.5 weeks is over with, for crying out loud. We can put our head up higher, 1.5 weeks. We can move forward, and we can see what happens. Both captains said it was a very good wicket, very high-scoring wicket. Nabi said we lost early wickets, and we weren't able to get things going. They both said that India batted really well, which they did. And this was a huge match. Absolutely needed. Huge match. There's no way of going about it. There's no way of putting it any other way. But India still needs some serious help. Coming up tomorrow, the matches we have tomorrow, let me get to it. Here we go. Australia, Bangladesh. Kind of a big match, but I would assume Australia's going to win that, no problem. West Indies, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's already eliminated. So West Indies, you would think they would win that match. So tomorrow's matches aren't huge in a way where like crazy things could happen, right? But then you got Friday, New Zealand, Namibia. I need Namibia to pull up the biggest upset. And then quick turnaround, India, Scotland. India was having weeks before matches. Now they have 2 days or 3 days. This is 2 days. That'll be interesting. Again, those 2 squads, the favorites should win those, but crazy things have happened. Let me know what your thoughts are about this huge win for India. Thank you so much. Woo! Huge win. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, adios.